This week we get some time with senior defensive end Jason Peters from Baton Rouge, and we're going to get to the cuisine of Baton Rouge in a little bit. But first, Coach Johnson said earlier this week one of the things that he has to be cognizant of, and the players may very well be, is the grind of the season. If you go back to the calendar when practice started in August, we're talking about 11 straight weeks. Does it feel like 11 straight weeks?
It actually feels a little bit longer than that sometimes, just because of the nature of the game, the nature of what you have to do to get ready for games it takes a lot. It takes a lot of preparation, it takes a lot of mental capacity to be able to take in all the information week after week to adapt and change to every opponent that you have. And it does start to wear on you, and it does start to, get to you sometimes.
Take me through a week getting ready to play. Let's use last week against Virginia as an example. It's a road game, much like the one coming up this week. Take me through getting ready, Monday on through.
So Monday you come in and you say you're still thinking a little bit about the last game that you just played. You're saying, how can I get better? I wonder what film's going to look like. You go through, you look at film, you make your corrections. You go on the field and you say, okay, now I have to flush this completely. I have to completely forget about it and get ready for the next person. And then that's when you'll start to look at the new film, see what they have, what they do, how they like to do it, and how you can stop it. And then you go into Tuesday. So Tuesday is going to be a big work day, and that's when a lot of the contact happens. You're getting your pads ready, getting yourself in a physical state this is how this game has to be played, and this is how we're going to set the tone. And that's when you get a lot of your introductory work for the team. Wednesdays, you'll start to cover some more detailed stuff that they do and things that you'll do in the game.
Down and distance kind of thing.
Down and distance, what they like to do in situations, any kind of special situation that might come up with them that hasn't come up before. So you get to Thursday, it's more of a polish-up day. It's a little bit lighter of a day. We're not going to be hitting full-on go, and we're not going to be trying to kill each other out there. But it needs to be a day for guys really getting ready, guys taking advantage of it and not slacking off. And it's a real day to really focus in mentally. And then you have Friday, you travel, you take your test and you travel and you get yourself mentally ready for the game.
All right, tell me about the test. More than one guy's referenced the test on the plane or at the hotel or whatever the case may be if it's a home game. What's the test? Is it like the SAT? Is it like the LSAT for grad school or something like that? I mean, what is it?
It's basically there's just actually questions on things that you went over during the week. Luckily for us, it's nothing like some of the tests that you might have to take around here at Georgia Tech, but it's just making sure that you know what you're doing and that coaches have confidence that you know what you're doing. And I think that myself being an older guy, it's gotten a lot easier for me because I can understand things a lot better. I understand what they want us to, things to pick up and things that they want us to learn, and it makes it just so much easier for us going into a game. And just to make sure, because I remember when I was my first year playing, I get the test, I'd be nervous and stuff taking it, say, oh my gosh, I'm getting something wrong, coach is going to yell at me. But now it's just, it's taken to another level because I know what has to be done. I know what we need to get to have prepared for the game, and testing isn't so bad for me anymore.
Tell me about last Saturday from the standpoint of frustration and disappointment. Is it more frustration, more disappointment, 50-50? Or where does it stand?
I think it's 50-50. Disappointed because I've seen us play a lot better than that. I know that we're capable of more, and it's frustrating because it just seemed like no matter what we did, it just didn't work. And I think that we will find what we need to find to get better and to improve. Because as far as the defense is concerned, we can play a lot better than that. That's embarrassing what happened to us, and it just got to points where we couldn't stop anything. We couldn't stop a basic run. And if they can run the ball up and down your back all day long, it's going to be really hard to win a football game. When they can stay on the field, keep the offense off the field, and we're not necessarily doing anything to help them, get the ball. But I think that the frustration just comes from us just knowing that if we would have done a couple of things different, or knowing that if we could have played with a little bit more intensity and emotion, we could have had a much better chance to win. And it's not that teams just present something that we're incapable of handling. It's that we don't just take advantage of opportunities that come during the game.
Let me ask you about the intensity, playing with intensity. It's one of the things you just mentioned. I believe, and others I think say it as well, that it's hard to play with the edge 12 times a year. I think you see guys on Sunday, it's hard to play with the edge 16 times a year. Maybe the financial end of that changes it. But is it hard to play with the edge 12 times a year and do the other things that are required to be successful in college football?
I think it very much so is. And I think that's what separates teams who have chances for national championships and teams who regularly have chances for national championships and teams who don't. I think that's one of the biggest things that we have to make sure we get corrected. And I think that is for a number of reasons. You know, you go through every week, it's pretty much the same kinds of preparations every week, week in and week out. And you kind of sometimes can have a tendency to get not sluggish, but to not focus in with the emotion and passion that you first started out with. And I think that we may have run into a little bit of that kind of problem last Saturday. But I think that that's one of the things, as far as players, as far as coaches, as far as just a team and everybody involved in it, that everyone has to do their part, making sure that that fire is there every week, that it means something to you every week, that you know what you're going out there for, and that you know what you're going to do.
You and the other seniors on this team, Jason, typify really the growth of this program under Coach Johnson. Obviously, it's 4 years for you, it's 4 years for him, things of that nature. What have you learned going forward from last Saturday in your previous 3 years that's going to help this team and maybe to a degree help your leadership with this team?
I think that we learned a very valuable lesson, and unfortunately we had to learn it the hard way, and just playing with an emotion, playing with heart, playing with just a chip. I think we had a good chip on our shoulder at the beginning of the season, but I think we started to lose that a little bit. You know, we started having a little bit of success, and we started seeing things in a different light. And I think that seeing them as, you know, we have to give every single thing that we possibly can. We can't take an attitude as, oh, well, we can do, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this, because we're good.
Right.
It's that we're going to do this because we're going to go make it happen on the field.
You're excited about this team. I mean, you're one of the guys that I've seen almost week in, week out. You're excited about where this team can be. Despite the loss last Saturday, going forward, Miami, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Duke, Georgia, you've got an edge about what this team might be able to accomplish, don't you?
I really do, because I feel that we have a group of guys that are not only capable of doing it, but they know how to do it, and they have proven that they can. And I think that if we can capture, and it's I guess a hard way of defining it, is the momentum, the energy level. It's just someone you can see it when a team is playing well. You can see it when you're giving the other team a hard chance. You're not letting them get a blow in. You're not giving them a chance to fight back. And when we can capture that kind of play, I think we can really do something special.
What did you learn last year? Maybe in comparison to what you learned in 09 and 10 that helps you in 11.
It's something I actually did learn last year that actually came into play last game, is that every game that you get yourself into, everything that you play, it's never just over. You know, if the team goes up 14, and it's never your season is not defined in oh, I have this player, oh, we can do this scheme, or we can play this way. It's going to be defined in small moments. It's going to be defined in, oh, can I make this one tackle on this one play? Everything comes down to the wire one way or the other. You know, this last Saturday was a swing of 3 points. And a lot of games last year, we won with by a touchdown or less than some of those. And it leads me to the message, is just don't ever stop. Don't ever think that you're out of something. Don't ever think that you can't do it, because when you keep your head down and keep pushing, you look up and you're right there. And you have to be able to take advantage of the opportunity when it comes. I think that's what we fell short of last Saturday.
All right, now one of your seniors, Roddy, is in grad school, MBA. You graduated. What are you doing? Because you're not in MBA school, right?
I'm not in MBA school. What I chose to do is try to take some prerequisites for applying to a graduate school later on down the road.
Yeah.
And I did that for the spring of last year. Well, the last school year. I did that for the spring of last school year. Took a few classes during the summer, but for the fall, I want to focus everything on football, so I chose to take a few easier classes, but still taking something that I wanted to take because I had a few classes to play around with, and really try to give everything I have to it, and then focus all my efforts once I can
convinced one day I may very well be working for Darryl Richard. Is there a possibility I may be working for Jason Peters one day too? Do you want to be in athletic administration, or is there some other kind of area related to sports you want to stay in?
I think sports always have a huge part in who I am and what I do because it's affected my life in so many ways. It's really shaped and molded me as a person. And I do have a feeling there's a good chance that I'll probably stay in sports in some way, shape, or form, whether it would be coaching, administration, or just, trying to help out with a football team, if it were here, if it were at home, or if it were in Timbuktu. It's just I really developed a love for the game and a respect for it because I've seen how it can change people. I've seen the emotions that it can create. I've seen the culture that it creates, and it creates a sense of belonging for so many people that it's something special. It's something that's worth holding on to, and that's what I love about the game.
Have you found a place in Atlanta that has the kind of cuisine like Baton Rouge? Or is that still a work in progress 5 years in?
Unfortunately, there are a lot of places that do it, that attempt to do it, and they do a half-decent job.
Okay.
But it's just something about home. It's just something about Louisiana. They put a little something extra in it. I'm not sure what it is, but it's just a little different.
All right, so if we ever go to Baton Rouge, where do we need to go?
Okay, if you ever go to Baton Rouge.
Because a man of yourself and, 203,
I've been to a few places.
You've been to a few spots.
There are a couple good places. If you ever get a chance, go to Mike Anderson's. It's one of the best seafood places around in Baton Rouge. Another place, if you go to Baton Rouge, you have to go to TJ Ribs.
TJ Ribs?
TJ Ribs. It sounds crazy, but it's a place right off Acadian Thruway off the interstate.
Okay.
In Baton Rouge. I know exactly where it is.
Apparently.
and if you go there, get the baby back ribs. It'll be some of the best ribs you ever had. I know it's not the usual Louisiana-specific food, but it's just a place that they just do it up right there, and it's a great place to go.
Cuisine from Jason Peters. It's full service when you talk to guys who are seniors. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
That's Jason Peters, and this is RamblinWreck.com.